You just got a screen reader. Now what? NVDA is free, powerful, and honestly, overwhelming at first. That's where NVDA Coach comes in. Real lessons, real feedback, right inside NVDA. No extra windows, no digging through manuals. Press a hotkey, pick a lesson, start learning. NVDA Coach meets you where you are and walks with you every step of the way. NVDA Coach, free, accessible, built for beginners by someone who gets it. Download today from the NVDA add-on store. Learn more at tonygebhardt.me/NVDA Coach.
Music, motivation, and positively obnoxious. This is the Tony Gebhardt Show.
Hey friends, it's Tony, back with the Tony Gebhardt Show, and I'm super excited because I got a friend of mine joining the studio today. We go back about 4 or 5 years, 5, 6 years now, and I consider him to be a change maker. This guy's enthusiastic. He's got that southern drawl, and he's got a lot of hospitality, and he's now recently become the CEO and president for World Services for the Blind in Little Rock, Arkansas. Eric Yarberry, welcome to the show, man. What's going on?
Man, Tony, we're glad to be here. Got
Yeah.
bringing the Southern draw to your West Coast vibe out there. Yeah.
Every
Everybody needs a little
time.
Southern twang.
Southern twang, man. I love it so much. And the last time you and I caught up was down in CSUN in 2025 was the last. And that was actually the first time we met face to face.
That's awesome. Literally running into familiar faces. It's a good time.
I know. I'm telling you, man. Just a lot of fun. But today's about you, dude. And, something that I really want to highlight is World Services for the Blind, but, really the people behind it, because I'm an alumni, love WSB. Got to put that out there. And
Yeah.
there's so much happening. There's so much going on. I feel like it doesn't get enough attention and recognition. I'm biased as I'll get up because I graduated in 2021. So, I'm tethered to the records.
Well, and you're out there making us look good too with the NVDA add-on and all you're doing there, and really, that's what when I see people come through our programs. Honestly, Tony, when they graduate, I don't want that to be the last time I see them. I want to see them out on the conference circuit. I want to see them out there making stuff happen, and we just be a part of that journey, and that's cool, man. You're doing good stuff. It's not all about me, unfortunately, but I I'm glad for you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. Well, and so, I mean, to be fair, that's a fair thing to say as a CEO, right? Because your job is to make the company look good and make everybody look good. That comes out of it, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a better person to replace the last CEO, and it's just so cool because I can say to people, it's like, oh, he's my friend, man. I know that guy. And but really, what I want to tackle and nail down here is just give me a little bit of your journey to this point, because you yourself, you're totally blind, which is an important part of this podcast. Is identifying real people behind the job titles, real people that are behind the vocational goals, the real stories, and how you in this situation got to this point. Because I mean, let's peel the veil back a little bit. 10 years ago, where were you 10 years ago in comparison to today, sitting in the position that you have now?
No, it's great. 10 years ago, I was in grad school, actually teaching English writing to Comp 1 and Comp 2 students, so English 1 and English 2, and that was fun, man. I had a lot of fun there. I told the grad school I didn't want to have to pay for school, so I asked them if I could have a graduate assistantship, and I would scrub toilets and do everything that needed to be done, which meant that I would be teaching their 8 a.m. classes and their lunch hour classes, the two classes that you just, as a student, you're working. The university I went to, pretty non-traditional school, so a lot of the folks that were attending there, they had families and jobs, and similar to what we see in our ATI program, you know what I mean? So they would come before work or come to us on their lunch break, and they were there to learn. Honestly, it was a good time. I didn't really have I was probably the first blind person they'd ever met, which is good for me. I tell people that I was teaching sighted people really before I was even teaching and working in the blind community, so it's kind of cool. But I did go to the school for the blind in Arkansas, so I'm very familiar with the blind community. Um, but having that experience of what it's like to work, quote, in the real world really has helped me build relationships and understand that everybody's got a story. It's not just about blindness or visual impairment. So, and what I learned too from that experience is yeah, you've got a story, but you just got to keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward one step at a time. You have to have clear goals, know where you're going, but just break it down step by step and just work slowly towards what your goal is, but also celebrate along the way. That's something that I learned from my wife. She and I've been together 11 years. We'll be married 8 in September. So
That's
that's
amazing.
pretty steady. And yeah, it's incredible. But you got to find friends, a partner, somebody that you can really celebrate those things. But also when times get tough, you got to have a network and some folks you can go to because it ain't all easy.
No, no,
You know,
absolutely not. Right. And it's like that one step at a time, at least until you step on a pothole that your cane didn't find.
Dude,
So,
you're not wrong, man. I've fallen in. I I remember I was first year of college and I was traveling through campus and like every good college campus, there's always construction. I almost think it's a ploy to just mess with
always.
new students, and I've fallen in a couple holes. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
that's the
no
way it
doubt.
goes.
So, World Services for the Blind has been around for a hot minute, and I unfortunately didn't have the privilege to be on campus and be there for in person events, but I know the online program has been thriving. But what I really want to peel back is tell us what World Services for the Blind is all about. What's the core values, and what does it serve in the blind community as it pertains to vocational and personal development in people?
Yeah. Yeah, so our tagline is sustainable independence. So we want to come alongside individuals along, at whatever point in their journey they are. If they're a thriving blind professional and they're just looking to come back and brush up on those AT instruction skills or relearn a new career, we want to be that place for you. But also if you're just tapping into the blind community, it can be overwhelming. First of all, the support is unreal. We want you to lean into that. But know that we also have life skills training here residentially that we can help you out with. And then those career training programs, think of us like a VOTEC school for the blind for adults. And we can do several different career training programs, not just assistive tech instructor, but that is definitely our bread and butter and our largest, and we're leaning into that program success for sure. But we want there to be options out there and just the community connections too, not just within the blind community, but within just the general workforce. We've done a good job at building relationships and helping people if they want to. Now, you always hear two sides of the story. If
Right.
someone's gone through a program and they haven't gotten a job, you're always going to hear their side, not our side, and that's okay. But for those who have gone out and gotten a job, it's not as easy as for blind or visually impaired people submitting a resume and getting a job. You've really got to, we're getting close to just being able to get out there and go to work. But for our community, you've got to build those relationships and help build those bridges for them to get an internship and for you folks looking for work to go out there and move into a job that'll turn into a career for you.
Well, what I admire the most is this like effort and advocacy to stomp the stigmas, right? So you put a huge emphasis on community and networking. You've told me some stuff off air about what y'all are doing. And like that's, I mean, it starts too, with, of course, putting ourselves as adults, right, going through the programs, recognizing true potential. But then there's that second piece that's just as equally important, is informing the public. Like, hey, this is what blind people are like. This is what we're capable of. Hire us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that. That's such a big deal.
When I did an interview, I mean, recently, and one of the questions they asked me was, so this is typical news station, um, and I liked it because she asked me, about misperceptions and how do we break down these. She didn't say it this way. I'm kind of canning it for you, but how do we break down the barriers? And I just point blank want people to have conversations and just talk, just get to know people. That's really what's going to push these obstacles out of the way and break down barriers and get to know the person, because you'll find out that the disability oftentimes is the 10th, 12th most interesting thing about someone with a disability.
Right, there you go. Absolutely, man. Because everybody's got a story and a personality that they can bring, especially in an employment environment and post-secondary education, so on and so forth.
Yep.
So, no,
Yep.
that's fantastic. And yeah, among other programs, you've got credit counseling. You've done. I mean, let's go through that list a little bit. I mean, so
Yeah.
assistive technology being the big one.
Yep. So we've got behind assistive technology instructor, our biggest one would be information technology specialist. There's a lot of opportunity that's going to be opening up. We'll see across the industry for IT specialists. That's you make sure you want to get your just because you think you can work on computers, make sure you get your tech skills down and understand you don't have to be a whiz at it because remember you're going to school for that, but make sure you can navigate a computer, whether it be with a screen reading software or braille display, whatever you're feeling comfortable with, or screen magnification software, and eventually in IT, will help you build the base up to uh, Microsoft Azure certifications and CompTIA certifications in that industry. And then we've got some really great community partners that we can open up some doors and internships for you here residentially. IT, unfortunately, is residential because we manage all of our IT in-house. So students who come through that will have the opportunity to get their hands on a real live operating setup of IT. I mean, it's across our entire campus. So you'll see the end user experience, and that's a big deal, those soft skills, learning how to work with people, and then get away from the people and in the server closet and see how everything's set up there to the switches and access points around campus and cameras and phones and just getting an understanding and having, I mean, really permission to do that. You'll be
There you
with
go.
an instructor who actually is comfortable working with blind people. And then we've got our massage therapy program, got some incredible partners here in the community as well
That's a very
who
hands-on program.
yeah, it's very handy, very handy. Um, and that one's great because we're taking you up to licensure. So it's not like you're just going to come here, learn how to do it, read a book, and then be expected to leave, go back home and take the test. If your state licensure, a lot of states do have what we call reciprocity. So you can get your hours here and sit for the exam and take that back home. But a lot of people honestly, I'm becoming a fan of this. I've got opinions, but a lot of people will come to WSB, get very comfortable with the community that we have here, and then not want to return home. And I'm okay with that, but we've got to get you out in the community and working, and that's what I want people to understand. But that massage therapy opportunity is growing tremendously. Medical billing is another program that we have there's a huge demand for that. That one, you do have to have some functional vision, not because I don't think you can do it. Anybody who hears me, if you ever find me in a conference, I'd love to sit down and chat with you, but understand that field requires a lot of uh, software adaptation. Freedom Scientific, Vispero, they've worked with Epic, one of the large medical billing software companies, and that's been an uphill climb for the past 15 years, as long as I can remember, to make it more accessible. So if you have some functional vision, meaning you don't have to zoom in a screen magnification software larger than four times, so 4x, uh, medical billing might be an option for you. And that one, you may be on the phone, but really what you'll be learning is more the codes for procedure codes and diagnosis codes and how all of that works and how to make insurance happy. I mean, if you can make insurance happy, you can make anybody happy. So,
Man.
but really those are our top four career pathways that I would encourage people to investigate.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the great things about World Services for the Blind is you do work with third party and outside vocational counselors. You've worked with folks all across the United States, and I don't know what the metrics are for outside of the U.S., but I think it's incredible that the communication channels are there. I'm a living example of somebody who was in Michigan at the time and was approved for support to travel. And of course, COVID-19 happened at the time, but we were still able to do support for the online program, which was completely just such a success. So the concept is there, it works, and uh, it does provide results. And one of the things that I really love so much about the tech program is the real world experiences. Kind of mirroring some of what you were talking about with IT. Getting you face to face with clients within 30 days. Which is just incredible. I mean, we're not dipping toes in; we're jumping full fledged. And I think that
That's what you've
model,
got to do.
I think that model scares a lot of people sometimes. But what we have found to be really helpful is that immersive experience, and I think WSB does a great job at that.
Yeah, and when people come here and I'll get an email every once in a while. I don't get as many excited, happy emails as you might imagine, but I like getting emails from students who say, "Hey, I'm really enjoying the program, and I don't need a pat on the back from our students. I'm glad, but I also like to hear just the emails talking about their first time getting to teach and what that's like, and um, it's more than what they thought it would be in most cases. They're able to give back to the community, and then I don't know, how about actually make a paycheck? And that's a big deal. So we know
Oh,
that a
it's
lot of you got
huge.
you out there want to be contributing members of society, and the assistive tech instructor program is a very, very in demand job. Not, I mean, I'm not, you can go do your own research and call agencies in the blind community, and they'll tell you the same thing.
Amazing. Amazing. And, something just to pick up from with vocational counseling is that, it's all about the advocacy and how you really approach it. Because I think what a lot of folks are afraid to do is, ask their vocational counselors like, hey, I want to go do this. Right.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is, well, how do we communicate this, right? So how would you communicate, let's say, someone from Kansas wanting to come down to Arkansas for that massage therapy program, but their vocational counselor is a bit on the ledge about it. Maybe they don't understand fully
Right.
the process.
Right. So one thing that I tell people is don't take my word for it. So let's start there. And what that means is I can, but it's not going to be the best way to go about it if I call a vocational counselor and say, I just got off the phone with Tony. He wants to come to our massage therapy program. They they're not going to necessarily be put off by that, but what they want to see is that you've done your research, you know the opportunities out there as far as employment, you know what the program will entail, the prerequisites to get into the program. In other words, what do your skills have to be before you even get into the massage therapy training program? So, and then also talking to successful grads, I'm more than happy and willing to put anyone interested in our programs in touch with someone who's out there, so you can have an offline conversation about what was the program like. Because guess what? I haven't gone through a massage therapy program. I can tell you what I think it's like, but you would actually be able to talk to someone who went through it, who's successful, and who has a job. And that to me, and then you can call them whenever you need help. That to me means more than just me calling and verifying that Tony wants to come from Kansas to go through our massage therapy program. Yeah, of course I'm going to say it's a good deal. But do your research, put it in writing, get some information back to your counselor that shows you've done your research. And really, at the end of the day, what the vocational rehabilitation counselors, first of all, they work for the government. Okay, so they're looking out for the federal funding, and they want to make sure that every dollar has a return on investment. So when you spend a government dollar, especially for, workforce, they want to see that that money goes not only into training, because they do want to spend it. Don't get me wrong there, but they want that money to go towards someone who's actually going to put it to work. And once you get a job and you're out there, you're contributing back into the system that allowed you to go through training by way of taxes, obviously, but that's the way it works. That's the way it should work.
Right. You know that my experience just is screaming at me because I remember fighting tooth and nail with my vocational counselors in Michigan because they thought, they wanted to talk me out of it, right? They kind of wanted to talk me out of it a little bit because they were really apprehensive. And I remember just spending weeks upon weeks doing labor market research, contacting
Yep.
people, emailing people, trying to get metrics and trying to get hiring information. What's the entry level career point for this? What's how many people sustain employment with this? Those are the pieces of information that really mean so much and show the initiative for finding support. It's like writing a grant.
It
When
is
you
like writing a grant. It
yeah.
is very much like writing a grant. Well, and one thing that I want people to understand too, if you're sitting here and you're listening to this, you're like, man, I've literally done all of that. Every agency, Department of Workforce or however it's structured for vocational rehabilitation, they have an entity that is there to help you along the way if you're not getting the services and support you need. Usually it's a consumer access program, a CAP, or in Arkansas, it's like a disability rights associate or disability rights for Arkansas. And because they have federal money, there's also a legal arm there that you can reach out to. Fun fact, I actually, it didn't occur to me, but most federal programs like this have a legal arm. And I had to use that for flood insurance for my house. And had I not been navigating vocational rehab and learning all this, it would have never occurred to me that alongside federal dollars that go direct to U.S. citizens, there's legal assistance there ready to support and help, and they're not going to come out guns blazing. They're going to come out, sit down with you, talk to you, actually make sure that you have their correct information, and they're there to assist you. So don't think you're just hiring an attorney who's going to go bulldog. That's not the way this works.
No, absolutely not. And I remember having a consumer advocacy program specialist. CAP is what it's called
Yeah,
in most. I think most states is what they call that. Client assistance program, consumer assistance, or
something like that.
advocacy. But yeah, absolutely. Where if you feel confused, and I did at the time too when I was navigating this process, I was
Most people
intimidated.
do. It's
Yeah,
overwhelming.
it is. It's very overwhelming. It's like, oh my God, like I didn't know I was supposed to know all this. Well, that's what that program is there for that you're talking about. And I love that
Yeah.
you bring it up. And I had a great gal. Her name was Liz. And we would get together once a week. She would be on every call with me with these vocational counselors. She would back me up. She would inform me. She would help me. But more than anything, she wouldn't speak for me. She would
No.
help me speak for myself.
Yeah, they're not there to speak for you. They're not, it's not like a prosecuting attorney or defense attorney. That's not, well, and there's misconceptions about that. I think people hear CAP and they're like, oh, we're going to war.
Right.
No.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No,
But
that's
just
not what's
looking
happening.
back, it made me into being a better advocate for myself. And I think overall that's the misunderstanding that I think most people will run into when pursuing programs like this and navigating the system, because it is a
Right.
system. The,
It
the
is. Yeah.
reality is what it is. It is a system, and sometimes you have to play it, and you have to know how to say it, what to say, but more importantly, speak for yourself.
Well, and on the flip side of this, you have to remember that vocational rehabilitation counselors, they're people too. You're building a relationship. You can't
Right.
just charge in there and tell them what you want. That's crazy.
No.
Build a report, and they've got a case of, in most cases, 150 people that they're working with, and they get burnout. I think the turnover in that field is it's ridiculously high. They're doing a lot for a little pay, so most of those people in that field, they might be in that job for 2 years, 2.5 years, and then they move on to something else. And so you have to remember, take care of them. They're trying to take care of you. They've got a lot more. You're not. You never will be at the top of their pile. You shouldn't
Right.
be.
No, you shouldn't be. Well, and the other thing is, I think vocational rehabilitation, at least what it's taught me over the years and being and working in this field now, is, oh my gosh, the less I need of them, the better, right? And that's kind of what that's what I tell my clients all the time. And I'm not a voc rehab counselor, but I work in the same office as one, and we see each other every day. So sometimes I'll sit in, sometimes I'll ask for some cheat codes, right, and try to figure this out. And it's I think the core value and fundamental of it all is advocacy. Teaching clients how to speak for themselves. What do you need versus what do you want? Okay, let's get you an informational interview. You were talking about that earlier, about getting with someone who's in the field. In fact, I have a client right now who's interested in massage therapy, and we're trying to secure an informational interview for this individual so that they can, get the information for themselves instead of listening to me blab for an hour about it.
Or me. Right, exactly. Yeah. Let's
because I'm not the one you want to talk to about none of that.
Me no, that's right.
So wow. Okay, amazing. Well, let's wrap this up here just a little bit. So Eric, first of all, I want to thank you for your time and hanging out with me and shedding some of your experience, some of your wisdom, and really sharing World Services for the Blind, because it is a special program. It is a great school. And it's, in my opinion, it's a gem that just does not get as much recognition as it should, just for the simple fact that it has a community-centered approach, and the values and morals behind the teaching is very interpersonal. And I love that about WSB. So how can somebody get involved with WSB? What do they do? Where do they go? What's that look like?
First stop is our website, obviously, wsblind.org. Check that out. But then get involved with us on Facebook. We're still old school Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram too. And we share a lot of information on there. If you want to talk to someone, and I'm a talker, I'd rather talk to you on the phone, give us a call. Our number is 501-664-7100. If no one answers, leave a voicemail. You'll hear me on the voicemail, so we're legit. And we'll get back to you. Someone that you'll want to talk to is Rebecca Reed. She works in our admissions. Rebecca's been doing this for a hot minute, so she knows the ins and the outs, and she's going to make sure that you're taken care of. If you're struggling to get a hold of CAP or a VR counselor, whatever you're looking to do, she can help answer those questions. I think for me, the important thing that I want to leave behind to each of you is you don't have to do this blind journey by yourself. Whether you call us or go attend an NFB convention or go swing out to CSUN, check out all the AT cool things, whatever, get out there. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there for the blind communities. I mean, I'm not going to tell you everything's great, but it's just like any community. Nobody can speak for the entire community, and I'm not trying to do that. So just get involved. There's a lot of support, and there's no reason for you to sit and hang out and try and figure it out all on your own, because there's a lot of us like me and Tony who have made a ton of mistakes, and we don't want you to make those mistakes.
There you go. Right. Absolutely. And it's about surrounding yourself with people who have your interest in mind, want to support you, and provide you with as much information as possible so that you can be a better advocate.
That's right.
Sweet. Love it, man. Well, thank you, Eric. Appreciate you. And of course, as I leave all of you, always remember that you matter and life is better with you in it. Stay groovy.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Send an email to the show at info@tonygebhard.me. Always remember, you matter every day.